Good afternoon, everybody. You all ready for this? My name again is Willie Fluck. I'm the Senior National Corporate Trainer for CoreLogix, and I've been traveling around the country the last 3.5 years, moving people from the older systems, ML Exchange Fusion to Matrix, and I promise you guys, you're going to love the new system. It's so much faster. It's so mobile friendly. How many of you tried to use Fusion on the iPad? How you like it? Nah. Matrix is going to work on their iPad the same way it is on your desktop. There's not going to be anything special. You're not going to have any special downloads. There's no apps from any device. The way you'll get to Matrix is you'll log in the same way you would from your desktop. You'll go to rirealtors.org or statewide, whichever you do, and you'll notice as of a couple days ago, in addition to the Fusion button, you now have the Matrix button. So you'll click on the Matrix button and you'll get into the system. Just so you all understand where we're at in the process, when you leave here today, while everything's fresh in your mind, I want you to go home and start using Matrix as your MLS system. Do everything in Matrix. Run all your searches, send your emails, your printing, you're setting up your auto notifications. Do it all in Matrix. The only thing you'll have to use Fusion for between now and the end of January is if you need to edit a listing or you need to add a listing or add photos, you'll need to do that in Fusion. But whatever you do in Fusion within 15 minutes will be in Matrix. So Matrix is live for you to do everything in. And if you start doing everything in Matrix today, except for add edit, come the end of January, the only difference is you'll have to add and edit listings into Matrix. And I'm going to give you a preview today of what add edit's going to look like in Matrix, so it won't be a big surprise. So if you start using it today as your MLS system, the end of January when Fusion goes away, it's not going to be a big deal. The only thing you're going to be doing differently is using Matrix for adding, editing, photos, listings, that type of thing. The way we're going to go through the session today, when you log into Matrix, this is what you're going to see. This is your home page. We're going to go through all of the gadgets on the home page, showing you how all of the gadgets work. Then we're going to go through the menu system across the top. Then we're going to take a short break, 10-15 minute break. When we come back from break is when we're going to get into all the good stuff, all the stuff you do every day. Searching, emailing, printing, setting up auto notification. The reason I hold class that way is if I showed you all the good stuff first and then we took a break, half of you wouldn't come back and you wouldn't know how to use the system. It's my goal when you walk out of here today that you know everything there is about Matrix. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, when you log in, this is what you're going to see. This is your home page. Now your home page isn't going to look exactly like mine because it's totally configurable. If I want this gadget in the middle, I just grab it and drag it, put it where I want. If there's a gadget on my page that's taking up too much space, I can go to the heading in that gadget and I can minimize it. So just the header's there. When I'm ready to use it, I can go and I can maximize it. If there's a gadget taking up too much space, or one that I don't even use, like my listings, I can go to the X in the gadget, I can throw it away. It's nowhere on my screen. If I ever close anything down by accident, or I need to use it at a later time, if I go to the additional gadget and maximize it, there's my listings. I can drag it out, put it back on my page. However you leave your page, that's the way it's going to look going forward from any device. So when setting up your home page, you may want to keep your smallest device in mind, with your more important gadgets at the top, so on your smaller device you don't have as much scrolling. This first gadget we come to, news and alerts. This is the only gadget that can't be customized. It can't be moved, it can't be minimized, it can't be thrown away. It's always going to be in your top left-hand corner. From time to time you're going to log into the system, you're going to get an important message from the board with important information. Initially it's going to have two buttons on the bottom. This button's going to say, I'll read later. This button says, I've read this. If you click it, I'll read this later, it'll keep coming and reminding you until you've had a chance to read it. If you click on I've read this, it'll go away, but it'll store over here on the side for a period of time so you can refer to it. Matrix has the normal hot sheet functionality. You can run your hot sheet for the last 24 hours, today since midnight, 3 days back, 7 days back. You can even run a custom up to 30 days back. Initially, it's set up for the entire MLS. But you can go into Customize, and you can set it up for whatever you'd like. If I go to Single Family and I edit the criteria, I can set it up for a certain zip code, a city, price range homes. I can even go as far as going to the map, and I can say, this is the part of the MLS that I work in. That's what I want to keep an eye on. So now when I save that, and I go back to my home page and run my single family hot sheet, it's going to show me activity just for in the area that I have defined. It's going to show me back on markets, pendings, price changes, listings that are sold, expired, all the activity just in the area that I've defined. If I go to Customize, I can also add additional hot sheets. So maybe I have my single family set up for a certain zip code, but then maybe I want to add some that drill into a certain subdivision, or maybe waterfront properties. So you can add additional hot sheets. So there's lots of hot sheet type functionality. The next gadget we come to, Market Watch, is nothing other than another hot sheet. It shows you the same type of information. It shows you new listings. It shows you price changes, solds, back on markets. It just shows it to you in a more graphical form. You can run your Market Watch for the last 24 hours, today since midnight, 3 days back, 7 days back. And you can customize this to be anything you want. So maybe your hot sheet you have set up for a certain city, but your Market Watch you have set up for luxury homes or waterfront properties, whatever you'd like. Or you could set them up exactly the same. Then your hot sheet would show you everything together in one form, whereas this breaks it down into the individual sections, and it gives you a more graphical view. This next gadget here, My Favorite Searches. I really like this gadget because in any search that I go in the system and I define with whatever criteria I want, I have the ability, if I'd like to save it to this gadget. And then at any given time, I can go click on it and I can see everything that matches whatever the criteria is I have defined. But what I like about it is, to me, it's a type of hot sheet. Because if I go to start my day and I come down here and click on Update All, it's going to run all of those searches. And it's going to tell me since the last time I looked at each individual search, how many new listings there are. Now, for example, we just looked at everything that matches what I call Jamestown, so there's nothing new since then. But I haven't looked at Newport or Providence today, so they have new listings. If I was to click on the new listings, it would show me just the new listings. If I was to click on the name, it would show me everything that matches. So to me, it's a type of hot sheet. It doesn't show me everything. It doesn't show me what's sold and expired, but it shows me the most important thing, right? What new listings, what new offerings there are in any of the markets that I deal in. This next gadget, My Stats, we're going to go through the statistics in just a few minutes, but I just want to mention at this time that any statistic that I create, I have the ability, if I want to save it to this gadget. And then at any given time, I can go click on the link and I can see up to the minute statistics. My carts. The carts is a new feature for you guys. You have a cart for yourself, and you have a cart for each one of your contacts, your clients. All that a cart is a repository of listings, a place where you can stick listings tied to a client. Some of the uses of carts. Let's say you're sitting with a client and you're running a search and you're looking at listings, and you come across a couple listings that these might be really good for one of my other clients. you can quickly take those listings, stick them in that other client's cart, and keep on doing what you're doing with this client. When this client leaves, or later in the day, or tomorrow, I can go to that other client's cart. I can look at the listings. I can research the listings. I can email them. So the carts, another use for the carts. Let's say every time you take a person to see properties, print out driving directions, you put those listings in that client's cart. Then 2-3 weeks down the line, you can sit down with that client and you go, okay, here's the 10 houses we've been to see. Look how many of them are now off the market. Because once you put a listing in a cart, it's going to stay in that cart until you remove it. So if it's now changed status, changed price, you'll see those changes. So maybe a good way to motivate your clients to make a quicker decision, because they're going to see the houses that they like, they went to see, somebody else is buying. Any use you can think of for carts, it's a way for you to stick listings aside, tied to a client so you can refer back to them. Your client knows nothing about the carts. It's strictly for you to track those listings. This next gadget, My Listings, pretty self-explanatory. If I had any listings, there'd be a link there for my active listings, my pending listings. So I could click on any of those links and see the listings that fall in that category. Now, a lot of these gadgets are going to be empty when you first log into the system. For example, My Favorite Searches, My Stats. They're going to be empty because you haven't saved anything to that gadget. By the same token, Recent Used Contacts is going to be empty. Now, we've brought all of your contacts over for you from Fusion. All of your contacts that you have in Fusion are now in Matrix, as long as they had a first name, a last name, and an email address. If any of your contacts are missing in Matrix, they were missing one of those pieces. If you go to Fusion, put in that missing information, within an hour that contact will come over for you. Now, even though all your contacts are here, this gadget's going to be empty. Because what the Recent Use Contacts gadget does is, if you do something for a contact, you save a search, you set them up with auto notification, you update their information. If you do anything for that contact, it's going to put a quick link right there to get to that contact's information. The system assumes if you've done something for a contact, you're actively working with them. So you're probably going to do something else. So it gives you a quick link to get to their detailed information. I could always come over here, go to My Matrix Contacts, look at my 300 contacts, find Jessica Smith, click on her name. But being that I'm actively working with Jessica, there's a link right here I can click on. Recent portal visitors. What the portal is, it's your client's view of the information that you've shared with them. All of your contacts right now, they all have a portal. Automatically when they came into the system, automatically when you add a contact, automatically makes a portal for them. So they all have a portal right now. They know nothing about it because you haven't shared anything with them yet. What this gadget does is more or less tells you who's really looking to buy a house, who's going to the information that you've shared with them, who's going to their portal and running searches, who's actively looking at real estate. It tells you when they were on their portal last. Your clients, while they're on their portal, they can categorize listings. Oh, these are my favorites. I really like these. Or, this one's a possibility. It's priced a little high, but I want to keep an eye on it. So they can categorize listings. If when they were on their portal they categorized any listings, you'll have this little icon here. If you click on that icon, it's going to show you the listings. So you know the listings that your client likes. Your client can also put notes on a listing, things they like about a listing. Questions for you. If they left any notes while they were on their portal, you'll have this little envelope icon. If you click on that, you can see the note. You can respond to the note, so you can actively communicate with your client on their portal. Now, we're going to talk a lot about the portal throughout the class today, so I think it's important for you to have a good understanding of what the portal is. So we're going to leave Matrix. We're going to go now and become one of my clients. We're no longer you, the agent in the MLS. We're now one of my clients. And this is what the client sees. What the portal does is it puts everything in one place for your client, one place for them to go to all of their real estate information. In this gadget here, direct emails and reports, this is any emails that my agent has sent to me. They may have sent me a couple listings or driving directions, or maybe they sent me a presentation CMA. It keeps all of my emails from my agent right here in this gadget. Currently, if your client wants to look at an email that you sent them, they need to go to their inbox. They need to find your name, click on it. Oh, that's not the email I want. They go back to their inbox, look through the jokes and the spam till they find your name again, so on and so forth till they find the right email. They no longer need to do that. All they need to do is go to their portal. All of the emails are there. How does your client get to their portal? The first time you share any information with them, you email them some listings. You set up auto notification. When they get that email and they click on the link in the email, it's going to open up in their portal. Once they get to their portal the first time, they can bookmark it. They can save it as a favorite. From then on, they can go directly to their portal. No login, no password, they just go right to their portal. In this next gadget here, notes, we mentioned your client could put notes on a listing, things that they like about a listing, questions for you. This gadget shows them the recent notes, the recent conversation, keeps them up to date on what the conversations are, what they like. Up here, this is their favorites, their possibilities, their rejects. So they can go to any of those folders and see the information that's in there. That gadget on the bottom left, that's their favorites. It's keeping them in front of them, keeping them excited about them, keeping it up to date. Oh man, that was one of my favorites, and now it's sold. Because once they put a listing in a category, it's going to stay in that category even if it changes status. So again, that gadget may help them make a quicker decision because they're seeing the properties that they really, really liked, their favorites, somebody else is buying. Question?
When you email listings to, and you set somebody up on an automatic search, and they get the listings, you said it goes right to this,
Yep.
not to the actual listings? How will they know how to maneuver?
I'll show you in just a minute.
Okay.
I'll show you in just a minute how when your client gets an email from you and they click on the email, it's going to open up in their portal, and I'll show you in just a second how that looks. Now when you give your client access to their portal, and you do that simply by sharing information with them. When you give them access to your portal, you're giving them access to the MLS. Ooh, I saw some eyebrows go up there. Wait a minute, I don't want them to have access to the MLS. They won't need me. You're giving them access to client-friendly information. The same type of information that they could see on Realtor.com or those other websites, but the difference is you're giving them access to the live data. For example, probably never happened to any of you guys, but a couple people across the country have told me they'll get a call from their client. The client wants to go see 123 Main Street. The agent will pull up 123 Main Street in the MLS, and 123 Main Street sold a month ago. And the client tells them, oh no, you're wrong, I'm on the internet, I'm on Zillow, it's still for sale. Oh, that has happened to you? Like every day? That won't happen if they're running searches on your portal. Because if a house sold this morning and they run a search, they're not going to find it. And they shouldn't. It's not available. If a house changed price 5 seconds ago and they look at that listing, they're going to see the current price. What they're not going to see is all those ads for other agents that are on those other websites. The only information they're going to have is your information. So if they have a question, who do you think they're going to call? They're going to call you. Keeps you tightly connected to your clients. How do you get your clients to use the portal? You tell them you're giving them the MLS. How many remember the MLS books? A lot of hands? Remember that big sign on the front of the MLS books? Confidential information, do not share with anyone. Not that any of you guys did, but I've heard that a lot of agents, when they got their new book, would take their old book and go, here you go, don't tell anybody, here's the MLS. You're giving all of your clients the MLS. Should be real easy to get them to use it. Your clients, when they're running searches on the system, they're searching the entire MLS, the entire state of Rhode Island. And if they find another area that they like, not really where they're looking, but this is kind of nice, they can save that search. They can do that on other websites, but the difference is if they save a search on your portal, you know about it. It tells you in your client record, hey, Jessica's also looking at this section. Here's the listing she's looking at. So again, it keeps you involved in the entire process. And then this last gadget here, auto searches. This is any auto emails that you have set up for your client. So at any given time, when they click on it, they can see right this second what matches my criteria. Now to answer the question in the back, when your client gets an email from you and they click on the link in the email, it's going to open up the portal like this, showing them the listings that were included in that email. And there's different ways they can look at the listings. This view might be really good when they're looking at listings on their phone. It's nice and easy to navigate. They don't have a lot of scrolling. They can see the information. Right from this display, they can save favorites, possibilities, rejects, add notes, look at the photos, look at where it's at on the map. And there's different ways they can look at the data. Again, this is great for their phone, but on their tablet they might want more information. They have all of these different displays they can look at. They may like this one on their tablet because it shows them where the properties are located on the map. If they hover over any of them, it shows them where that property is located. They can save favorites, possibilities, rejects. They can look at the pictures, so they have all the same functionality. Or on their desktop, they may want to see all of the information, all of the client-friendly information. So there's all kinds of different ways they can look at it from any of the displays. They can categorize it, whatever they want. Whatever view they're looking at on a certain device, the next time they go to their portal on that device, that's the view they'll see. So from my desktop, maybe this is the view I see. But when I open an email on my phone, maybe I'll see this display. So whatever they look at on a certain device, that's the way they'll see it on that device going forward. Now this is very important. Every email you send out of Matrix is going to open up in your branded portal, whether the person's a contact or not. If they're a contact, they have all the functionality we just talked about. They can run their own searches. They can save favorites, possibilities. They have that nice dashboard. If it's someone that you were on desk duty and just randomly sent 4 listings to, all they'll be able to do is look at those 4 listings in all of these different displays, but that's all they'll be able to do if they're not a contact. So every email you send out of Matrix opens up in your branded portal. It depends on whether the person's a contact or not, what functionality they get. Make sense? Okay. We're going to talk more about the portal throughout the session, but I just thought it was important for you to have a good understanding of what the portal was. So now let's go back into Matrix. We're now you, the agent, back in the MLS system. For the last 10-15 minutes, we've been...
It's not me.
For the last 10-15 minutes, we've been one of your clients. We're now the agent back in the MLS system again. This next gadget we come to, Concierge. What Concierge is, it's an optional feature when you're saving an auto notification search. Hopefully everyone knows how auto notification works. You go in, You put in your client's criteria. They're looking in this part of town. They want this many bedrooms in this price range, whatever their criteria is. And then you save that search and tell the system, okay, I want you to work for me. I want you to run on a periodic basis. And if you find any new information, I want you to send it to my client. It's like your assistant, right? It's doing your work for you. What Concierge does, if you choose to use it for any search, it allows you to put yourself in the middle of that process. For example, let's say I have a client. The client has made it very, very clear to me. They think the ugliest thing they have ever seen in their life is a house with a blue roof. They just think that's disgusting. Well, if you set them up for auto notification, there's no field in your MLS color of roof, right? So if a house that matches their criteria happens to have a blue roof, it's going to send it to them. And your client's going to get it and they're going to go, what is up with this realtor? This roof is as blue can be. Why would they send me a listing that I obviously won't be interested in? Are they colorblind? Do they just not care? You may elect to put that search in concierge mode. That search is going to run constantly. And if it finds any matches, it's going to notify you, the agent. And then you get to decide on whether or not your client sees it or not. So for example, we've got 3 listings here in concierge mode waiting for Jessica. Jessica has not seen these listings. So I can come here, I can click on that link, I can look at those listings. I can look at the photos, see if it has a blue roof. Now, blue roof's a bad example, but you understand what I'm trying to say, right? For some reason, you need to look at the listing to see if it matches their criteria. I can go here, I can change displays, I can go to the full display, look at all of the information, and decide if it really qualifies to go to Jessica. And this one here, that roof's as blue can be. I can reject it. Jessica will never see that listing. Now I can click up here, click on approve, then that email would go to Jessica with just the 2 listings that I approved. You may never use concierge. If you don't, you won't even have this gadget. You don't need it. It's not necessary. You may have 10 auto notifications set up, but maybe only 1 or 2 of them in concierge mode. It's a totally optional feature for each search that you save. When you go home today, you won't have a concierge gadget. And you won't. It won't be under additional, it won't be anywhere on the page. As soon as you set up at least 1 search in concierge mode, that gadget will magically appear. And again, you may have 10 different ones set up. You may have 3 of them set up for 1 client, but maybe only 1 of those in concierge mode. And we'll see how to put something in concierge mode in the second half of the session when we're saving searches. Yes, ma'am?
So contacts are coming over.
All your contacts are here as long as they have a first name, last name, and email address.
What about the auto notifications?
We'll get to that, but yes, your searches are coming over also.
What do you do with people who don't have a computer?
If people don't have an email address, all the KIT system cares about is that you have an email format. So anybody that doesn't have an email address, just put in their email address, email@email.com or something, and then within an hour, it'll come over for you. Yes, sir?
If your clients are part of an LLC, and you have the name in the LLC, they won't have a first and last name, would that transfer?
Nope. There has to be something in all 3 of those fields. So if they're an LLC or something, put the name of it in the first name and LLC in the last name, something like that. And then within an hour, it'll come over for you. But all 3 of those are required fields for a contact. First name, last name, and email address. Okay, this last gadget here, external links, that's just some links to third-party sites that the board put here for you. And we already talked about the additional gadget. Does anybody have any questions about any of the gadgets? Yes, ma'am.
Which is, when you open this up and you're going to make a new search for somebody,
We'll get into searches at the second half of class.
Oh. But can you show us, I can't see anything back here on the screen because it's too small. So is there some place on there that we click on to then go to the search that you're gonna show?
Yeah, we're gonna go through the menu system right now. We're going into the menu system now. The menu system is right here on the top of your page. Everything above where I'm moving my cursor is your menu system. The menu system is always on the top of the page, no matter what part of the application you're in. This part will change. For example, we're on the home page, so it's showing us the home page. The first tab we come to is search. This is where all of your searching is done. Whether you're searching for property, or you're searching for an agent, or an office. If I click on more, this is also where your history and your open house search is. So any type of searching you're going to do, it'll be under the search tab. That's also where all the good stuff is, so we'll come back to that tab after break. Stats. I think the stats are phenomenal in Matrix. Let me just go click on historic sales price trend, and I'm going to hit generate now. Do you see how fast that just came up?
Wow.
That just processed real-time statistics on almost 130,000 listings. If you had done that in Fusion, you could have gone and got a cup of coffee, made a phone call, and come back and that wheel would still be turning, right? If you like that wheel, go get a hamster, because you're not going to see that wheel in Matrix. There's nothing special about my computer. There's nothing special about the board's internet. That's the kind of response you're going to see on every device. So any of you people that were sitting out there going, why are we changing systems? That's one of the main reasons. It's fast.